Okay, hello everyone. I'm Dylan Bowman. We're here in beautiful Chamonix Valley ahead of the 2019 Ultra Trail de Mont Blanc. I'm here with Katie Schide, one of the top contenders here at the UTMB this year. Last year's second place finisher at the CCC. Katie, welcome. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to meet you too, Dylan.
Good. So I want to talk about UTMB this year and obviously CCC last year. But I think you sort of like burst onto a lot of people's radars at CCC last year. So I wanted to just kind of get a little bit of your background. You're an American, but you live here in France, right? So maybe give us a little bit of your background with running and how you ended up here.
Yes, so I am American. I grew up in Maine, and then I was working in mountain huts all of my college summers. So I was getting a lot of experience hiking outside and hiking really fast and doing a bit of running too. And I was always really active, so running was always there for me. And then I was living in Utah, in Salt Lake City for a few years, and really found like ultra and trail running, and got really more excited about racing, and then immediately moved to Switzerland, where I actually live in Switzerland, in Zurich, and I'm finishing my PhD there. So that's what brought me to Europe. And then when I got here, I met my partner, Charmant Grangier, who was also racing. And yeah, from there, everything kind of took off. I felt like I really had a good support system for pursuing racing at like a bit higher level than I was doing before. And I was racing some of the bigger French races. But yeah, I think CCC was the first race where kind of maybe the Americans noticed a bit more, because it's more at the international level than some of the bigger French races.
Cool. Well, I mean, obviously, like you said, it did really take off for you there at CCC, and you ran one of the fastest times ever. Again, you finished second behind Yao Miao, who broke the record, and an astonishing performance there. Maybe like walk us through a little bit about what that CCC race was like last year. Did you, sort of overachieve according to your expectations? And how has that sort of set you up in terms of confidence and motivation for this year's race at UTMB?
Yeah, I think coming into CCC, I had already had a pretty strong season with some bigger races in France, and I knew I could kind of knew some of the competition and felt like I could do pretty well if I had a good day and like really took care of everything properly. And yeah, seeing Yao Miao go out really fast at the beginning was, I think you can say that you were trying to run your own race, but when you see someone going so hard at the beginning, it still pulls you more than you might want to admit. So I think she set a really good pace at the beginning. And yeah, I think that day I wasn't trying to do anything crazy. I just wanted to, what we do in an ultra, like you just do as much as you can that day. So it turned out to be good. But I think it's hard to talk about course records because they do change the course every year. And we didn't have the big Tête au Vent climb that they normally have. So.
Sure, yeah, but it was an impressive performance from both of you, and you said she did have a really fast pace from the start. Probably expect her to do that again UTMB this weekend, so that'll be interesting to see. But this year you've had also a really, really impressive season. You sort of have been on a roll since CCC last year. It seems like you were second at the Madeira Island Ultra. You won the 90K of Mont Blanc just in June, among other strong performances this year. How do you feel about your season this year, and do you take a lot of confidence from doing some of these more of these big European but on international world-class stages ahead of what is the biggest stage in ultra running?
No pressure. Yeah, I think this season has been really great so far, and I think in ultra running, it's not just what you do that one year that really prepares you for a race. It's what you've been doing the previous 5 years even. So this is kind of my third year where I felt like I've really been running with more of a goal than just to go outside. And obviously that's a goal some days, but not every single day. So I think I've had some years behind me at this point. It's not just like a brand new thing, but also every race, or not every race this year, but the Mute in Madeira was the longest race I'd ever done.
Right.
And then this will be my new longest race
Yeah,
I've ever
yeah.
done. CCC was my longest race I'd ever done.
Yeah.
So I like coming into races like that where I don't really know what's going to happen at kilometer 150 because I've never been there before. So it keeps things kind of fresh and exciting, and it's hard to get too swept up in like competition or like taking things too seriously if you can't even plan what's going to happen then.
Yeah, that's great. And as you mentioned, this will be your first 100-mile race. And of course, you chose, like I said, the biggest stage in ultra running to do it against, obviously, world-class competitors. You're probably the youngest and least experienced of the people who are, maybe considered the top contenders. Do you have any competitive ambitions that you want to share aside from, I just want to finish the race? Or how are you approaching it from a competitive standpoint? If you want to share anything about your training or your strategy or how you sort of envision your race going.
Yeah, again, I think it is tough to say because I don't have 100-mile like a background in that or experience in that. Of course, I would like to do well in the overall ranking, but it's something that has to be kind of something you say for the end of the race. I don't think it's something you bring to the start line, at least at this point. It's for me, it's experiencing the energy of UTMB. I think you get some of that at CCC, but I've seen UTMB and I think it's a bit more. So I'm excited for that. It's really fun to see people in every village, and when you see people at 2 a.m. cheering for you, I think that's really inspiring. And yeah, sharing the race with so many other runners. So yeah, at this point I can give you the lame I want to finish, but I don't think it's that lame because I think finishing UTMB is a really great achievement no matter what your time is.
100%. Well, that's a good attitude that will likely lead to more success than, setting really ambitious goals. But one last thing, you mentioned before that your partner is also running the race, and I just find that to be kind of an interesting dynamic between the two of you. So he's also running UTMB, is that right?
Yes.
Great. And so do you guys train together? You obviously probably talk about what to expect and how you might be approaching the race. Maybe just talk a little bit about, how you might be gaining motivation from him being out there too, and vice versa, and how you guys share your training.
Yeah, so Charmant is a French runner, and he was 5th at CCC last year, so he's definitely faster than me, but we do a lot of our training together. Actually, most of it, we at least leave the door at the same time. So for trainings like that, when there's a lightning storm and you're kind of standing at the door thinking, should I really go out right now? That's a huge motivator when someone's like, okay, we're going. And some days, I'm the one pushing. And but yeah, for longer things when it's slow, of course, we like to spend the day together. Obviously, we're not right next to each other the whole time, but it's just fun to have someone to share those days with. And then for racing, it's really cool, especially for me because I get the full updates on what's going on. And at Madeira, he was in second running with Francois and doing really well. And that was a huge motivator when I came into the aid station and I heard that he was second and looking good, or running with Francois. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was kind of in a mix of girls at that point. I was like, okay, Charmant's doing really well. I want to push too. Yeah, it's motivating to know that someone that you share so much with is doing well, and when they're doing poorly, it's also really hard. But yeah, I think it makes it not feel as
lonely, maybe.
Yeah, or I think it helps bring a lighter side to the sport in general, because when we go out, it's because we like to go run together for a big day. I don't feel like it's a thing I have to do.
Well, that's great. Well, best of luck to both you guys this weekend. I think there'll be a lot of people interested in following your race. I know it's your first UTMB, but I'm sure you'll really enjoy it, and hopefully the weather cooperates. And enjoy yourself out there and have a good time. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Katie.